In terms of what we're going to be covering today, we're going to be looking at what persuasion and influencing are, what kind of situations we use them in, but importantly, what kind of strategies and tools and techniques are there to maybe think about how we can improve our persuading and influencing skills, as well as some of the pitfalls that might be associated with persuading and influencing people. People like people that are like them, and they also like people who like them or who they like. If somebody you do not like or respect is trying to convince you or persuade you to do something, you're far less likely to do it. Equally, if you feel like you are being slightly browbeaten into doing something, you might agree to do it at that moment, but then as soon as you walk out the door, there's no way you're going to do it. You think about it and you're like, no way am I going to do that. So when we think about the position we need to get ourselves into when we are going to persuade or influence another person or a situation, with the other person, we need to build that rapport. The first thing is to listen to people. You need to know what people's starting point is, and you do that by listening to them and finding out what it is. You can do physical things like mirroring people's body language. Also, emphasizing points of similarity, getting people to agree with you, getting people's buy-in and people to agree with you on things starts off that rapport building process. And the key thing with this is this idea of questions. If you're going to persuade or influence anyone to do anything, whether that is a patient you're working with, whether that is a manager you're trying to get something, whether that is a team that you're trying to move from one position to another, you need to understand, you need to be armed with the facts and the information that are going to help you persuade and influence them. You're going to know by asking them questions what their situation is, what they see, what they perceive the situation to be, what they think and what they want. So then you can start building up a case, working out how you're going to best persuade and influence them. So I cannot stress enough the importance of asking questions. So this is a nice little visual. So this kind of starts off with this idea that when you start thinking about how you're going to influence somebody, start off by listening to them. That comes into the asking questions and listening to what they're telling you. That will then help you understand what the situation is, understand where they're coming from, which will then allow you to interpret how you're going to handle that persuasive or influencing interaction. You can start thinking about how am I best going to persuade or influence this person, armed with the facts through the listening and understanding, so you can interpret it and then you go ahead and start influencing. So it's a process that you are going through, and this is what the session is doing today, is helping you think about how you can put these into action. So let's think about the kind of strategies of persuasion and influencing. So on the left, you've got this idea of the push strategies. So this comes far more from the kind of authority. It might be that you've got authority needs for doing it, the power, the pressure. You are asking people to do something, persuading somebody to do something by using hierarchies, expertise. So that might be, look, if you were saying to a patient, I've got 20 years of experience working as an optometrist, so I would suggest that. Do you know what I mean? So you're kind of persuading them in by using this authority. It might be arguments and reasons as well. But with the push strategies, they tend to be far more kind of transactional strategies. You're trying to get something done probably quite quickly, and you just need to kind of get things moving and get that persuasion done. With the pull type strategies, that's far more kind of motivating, bringing somebody with you in that persuasion, in that influencing to reach a decision. So, you might be inviting people to have that buy-in with you. So you might say to a patient, have you got trouble with your eyes? Would it be a benefit to you if we worked out how best to improve, or I give you a solution that's going to improve your eye product? Then they're more likely to see themselves being taken with you in that journey and agree and be persuaded to do it. I suppose the key points when you are going into a situation when you are looking to persuade or influence somebody, whether that's patients, your managers, your teammates, or even your partner about doing the washing up, is about getting into a position where you understand where they're coming from. So you build up that rapport through asking questions, through listening, and through understanding, which will then enable you to consider which strategy is going to be best for you to use. Because then from there, once you've tried that strategy, if it works, brilliant. That's one to note and to do again. If it doesn't work, then it goes back to what we were saying before, that there might be another strategy that works better. So always be evaluating your influencing and persuading styles and try a different one, because there's no harm in doing that. Sometimes things don't work out with tactic number one, so you need strategy or tactic number two. But you do want to be in a position where you are open and you are authentic, because one of the key pitfalls of not being authentic or credible in your interactions is that you are persuading people to do something that they genuinely do not want to do. Or you might be browbeating somebody into doing something that actually isn't right for them because you haven't understood their situation and where they're coming from in the first place. So the key thing to being persuasive is being truthful. So forget the second-hand car salesman. It's about making sure that you're being truthful to that person and to that interaction, because as we said before, influencing is about having an idea, a good positive thing that you are moving somebody or different people towards.